What's up, y'all? It's T-Tar. There are 10 days until the Teal Mask comes out, so we're gonna go through some of your guys' theories, and I'm gonna start with this one. I saw a glimpse of it, and the gist is, what if Briar is from 200 years ago? I know it sounds cracked, but let's wait for it. And I'll read the theory in a second, but we had a similar idea when Briar was first revealed, and we thought maybe she could be a descendant of Heath. She got the earrings, she looks like Heath. The story could play out that she wants to redeem the lies that were spread about Heath, and she wants to show the world that Paradox Pokemon are real, which is of course a bad thing. One, the world doesn't actually know Paradox Pokemon exist, which is interesting to think. And two, the Paradox Pokemon are too dangerous to exist in the modern day, so she shouldn't let them free. And then she could also be interested in getting Terrapagus for herself, since her ancestor is the one who originally met it, and she maybe thinks it belongs to her. But this is a different take on that theory that I think is pretty interesting. We can summarize it with this phrase here. I think Briar is another AI made by Heath 200 years ago. Now, there's a couple things to think about here. Obviously, with Sada and Turo, the way they move, you can tell they're robots. I mean, the robot ones. So unless Briar is like a more advanced AI, we should be able to tell based off her movements. And so far, I think she's the one who takes us on the bus ride to Kitakami. So I think that's just a screenshot, not actual gameplay. It doesn't give you the idea that she's a robot. But you know, even going back and looking at Sada, she does have some pretty smooth movements. It's only occasionally that she glitches and looks robotic. But let's entertain this, right? Let's say she is an AI from 200 years ago and made by Heath. I'll build on this. To first dive into this, it depends on how the professors came across the idea to make AIs. Was it because they were a scientist in the first place, or did something lead them to making the AIs? We do know that someone in Area Zero, or a group of people, passed down information. We have those tablets, we have those symbols on the ground. It could sound believable that Sada and Tura were just using blueprints to make the AI, the same blueprints that would have existed in Heath's time. And then there's a second factor, which is Terrapagus. Heath, of course, isn't a scientist as far as we know. He's far from it. He's just an explorer. So to say he would have built an AI doesn't quite make sense, but Terrapagus comes into play here because Terrapagus clearly showed Heath a vision of itself for some reason. What we could maybe think is that Sada and Turo saw the same vision as Heath did, and what Terrapagus is doing is luring them to doing something it wants them to do. So because of Terrapagus's involvement 200 years ago, we can maybe tell a different story for Sada and Turo, where they were normal scientists, but they also saw the vision of Terrapagus, which led them to becoming these serious, devout scientists trying to make the AI in Time Machine. I mean, think about it. As unscientific as Heath is, he wrote those equations himself. It's like Terrapagus can puppeteer you, or maybe just put certain thoughts in your head. Because what would make sense if we want to entertain this idea is, why would he make Briar instead of a robot of himself, right? What he could be doing is maybe making the robot in the image of his like wife or daughter, because this could be a reflection of the story where some guy finds a turtle and gets frozen in time, the Uranoshimako story. In that story, he misses his family, either his parents or his daughter or something, and he can't meet them again. By the time he does go back, far much time has passed, like 300-400 years. So it can make sense that while he's stuck here with Terrapagus, frozen in time, that he remakes his daughter or his wife that he misses as the robot. By the way, I'm saying this as if Heath went back to the crater after everyone called him a liar. It's like if Terrapagus gave them the same blueprints, stuffed it in their heads, it makes sense the stances they took. Sada and Tura are conceited, so they wanted to remake themselves as their only trustable assistant, and Heath would make sense to just make the AI in the form of his loved one. It's like Heath wasn't interested in Terrapagus's lure to building a time machine and instead made what he wanted. And so maybe he eventually dies in Area Zero, and then when Sada and Turo do their expedition like 10ish years ago, that's when Briar gets freed. This is so cracked. It's like, you're here, you like these crack theories. I mean, look at her earrings, right? Entertain this. Pretend she's an AI that Heath made. Look at them earrings. Heath knew the turtle well. It's a pretty fun idea to think that she came from the same time period that Heath spent all that time with the turtle. We have to read the theory now. I had a little theory in Briar that I wanted to share. Riddler Ku asked if she's the creation from imagination power, or a concretization of books, or just an ordinary lady. I forgot about this. Even Ku is supplying the crack. Wow, hold up. We started this as a joke, but it actually has substance. So here is an unsolved riddle Ku posted. A lot of them are solved with the recent leaks. I won't talk about them. But here's one where he posted a picture of Briar and he wrote, "Do you think she is the creation from imagination power. Like, Heat was in Area Zero, and he used Terupagus's imagination power to make her. For some reason. Which could still work for if he missed his family while stuck in Area Zero with the turtle. And so he manifested something reminiscent of his family. Or a concretization of books. Oh, I have something to say about that. Or just an ordinary lady. This one is pretty funny. Okay, well, none of these actually list the AI. The concretization of books I'll talk about in another video. Let's get back to this. Why would he draw attention to the first 2 points if she was an ordinary lady? Because Ku trolls. I think Briar is another AI, this time made by Heat 200 years ago. This is crazy. It's so stupid to say Heat made them, but he was on autopilot a lot because of Terupagus, it looks like. Like, how do you wake up writing equations when you know nothing about, or maybe little about science? AI Sada was made about 10-ish years ago with current technology, but we know the Terra crystals have fantastic properties, and AI Sada could not leave the crater without the concentration of crystals. This is true. If Briar was an AI, she would have to rely on the crystals around her, so she would be stuck in Area Zero. What if Heat back in the day dreamt of an AI or android to be the personification of his expeditions, gathering all her knowledge from the books and Heat while he was alive? Oh my god, he's saying she was made by Heat, and she read Heat's notes for 200 years, becoming the ultimate Heat master of all information. Oh! Here's something! Oh! I also think she was operational for so long and still is because of her earrings. Portable Terra shards. No, that's something. That's a good idea. Okay, so when she moves, she's not gonna be robotic-like because that would give it away. Like, it should be a plot twist at the end that she's an AI, right? So let's just say she's more advanced and she's not gonna wiggle around. But those can power her. If they're like potent super Terra shards, and she's not just wearing them as a fashion statement, but to power her, that would make sense. They're literally Terra crystals, so the concentrated energy would be on the go and not secluded to the crater. This is a good idea. Another thing, her eyes. Why are her pupils red? The entire population would have black pupils and colored irises, so why would she have red ones? Well, I think that's just a fashion statement. Oh, you're saying like android eyes. I'm gonna have to go into rehab after this. Okay, no, those aren't android eyes. I think that's just her unique design. Unless they want to spin it as android eyes. That kind of reminds me of the scene where AI Sada is deactivating her sleep mode and her eyes flash red, harking back to the AI robot point. Okay, she needs to be a super robot. Or she needs to, wait, let's go back to Ku, right? Remember how Ku didn't mention anything about AI here? Let's pretend this one, creation from imagination power, right? What if it was literally that? It's made from Terupagus's powers, but she uses that to keep herself alive. Sure, her insides aren't robot parts, it's all imagination. Listen, I'm not the one who wrote that in the Ku riddle. Ku wrote this. Creation from imagination power. God, the fact that he writes a concretization of books. Now I see why you wrote she read his books for 200 years. Well, I like the idea that she's made from imagination power. God. You know what's nice to know? No matter what, it's October and we still don't know what Paradox Pokemon are. That's the only thing that keeps me going. The excitement that there's some plot twist in these DLCs. We're gonna finally know how Paradox Pokemon work. Whether this whole imagination spiel is actually relevant. So essentially, she would be an amalgamation of some of Terupagus's powers, walking in the form of a human and being powered portably by the Terra earrings. Listen, I come here to put ideas in your head. I'm not here to be right. I'm here to make you speculate, have fun. If that means you do crack sometimes, you don't do it. Who knows what's legally accountable? But build off that theory, okay? We'll get a glimpse of her in the Teal Mask. So maybe we could deny some stuff, but the big juice is in the Indigo disc. Which, by the way, Cerebi has predicted maybe it might come out in November. I thought early next year, like January. But if we get the Teal Mask in September and the Indigo disc just 2 months later, this is crazy. Just a prediction. Here's Jesus. I have something for you to think on. What if every Pika clone is a regional fake? Nah. They're like once removed from being a regional variant. They're related, fam. They're all distant cousins. I mean, I guess in a future game like Gen 10, they could introduce a Pokemon that's not a mouse and looks like Pikachu. And that could be the mouse for that region. And it's a fake this time. But so far, the ones we have, they're like, aside from Morpeko, I don't even know what Morpeko is. So Morpeko's a rodent, so that still can be related. Emolga is a squirrel. And squirrels are still related to rats too. Yeah, so all of these guys are distant relatives. Mimikyu's a poor attempt at a regional fake. It's not. Here's Albin. What about a black and white Charcadet evolution whose origin is tied back to the Univin heroes, truths and ideals? Okay, this is a crack theory, but this is interesting. So Charcadet evolves based off two armors. One is righteous and one is cursed, malevolent. But you know how they expand Pokemon as we go through more games? Like we got Hisuian forms in Legends Arceus. So what if in Legends Kyurem, you get Charcadets that have armors that evolve them based off truths or ideals? We have to be closer to the game to start speculating that. That's not a bad idea. Here's Jimbo. Interesting idea. In the Crown Tundra, the three Galarian birds are stated to be called Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres because of their similar appearance. My idea is that there actually are fakes of the birds and not regional forms. Perhaps the birds were Game Freak's initial testing on a new type of Pokemon are fakes. Okay, so they are right. If you look at their Pokedex entries, it's like they're named backwards. Game Freak certainly was messing around when they made those, but I think they're safe to say as regional variants. We will get regional fake legendaries at some point, okay? It's gonna be the laddies or something. We're gonna see some horrendous laddie looking Pokemon that are totally fake. But it's in a few years. Alright, that's enough for today. Make sure y'all shank that like button. Let me know your thoughts on Miss Briar. There's something to her, right? Try to figure out what it is in the comments. There's something. I like the earring idea. Wait a second. There's a response by Ku to this right after that says, do you think it'd be a bad taste for Turo if she's a fusion of AI and books? Well, he mentioned AI. Her eyes are a bit off. All right, I was supposed to end this video. Y'all let me know in the comments. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.